this is about the causes of World War II, and one of the causes was the Spanish Civil War. That was between the monarchy that was currently in Spain and people who wanted to change that, which isn't it always. But it was led by Francisco Franco. He was able to change Spain into a fascist government with the help of Germany.
The non-aggression pact was between Germany and the Soviet Union. They made this pact for non-aggression towards another for 10 years using no military. They secretly split Northern Europe in half, and the person that broke this pact was Hitler, who was ruler of Germany.
Next was the League of Nations, well, more so the weakness of the League of Nations. The main weakness of the League of Nations was it didn't include 3 of the biggest powers. So it didn't include America, it declined being included because it was an isolationist at the time, so wasn't into that type of life. Then we have Joseph Stalin, and he didn't want to join because he did Britain and France, so problem there. Then Germany, which wasn't allowed to join, so that just kind of set up a dismal future for the League of Nations.
Germany wanted to achieve ultimate self-sufficiency through more land, Lebensraum, which would be used to feed the citizens. Japan also needed food resources. The main island needed colonies to bring in food for the inhabitants, and also needed access to other places for raw materials to become self-sufficient.
Then there was the American isolation, and before Roosevelt came in, the Americans didn't want any ties for political at all, so they banned weapon trading and lending money. And Roosevelt wished to undo these neutrality acts.
The invasion of Poland, or the September Campaign, was a time where Germany and the Soviet Union invaded Poland at the same time and left Poland defenseless and sad. This made Britain and France angry and declared war on Germany, which in turn caused the start of World War II. This is similar to when Hitler broke the Treaty of Versailles and invaded Rhineland. This caused fear, and the British advocated appeasement. This invasion of Rhineland was a turning point to the start of the war and gave Hitler and Germany untold power.
The Weimar Republic was the weak new government put forth by the Germans to direct their country in 1919. The Republic had too many political parties. The proportional seating caused unstable politics in the nation. The government was also ignorant when concerned with the economic problems, and this led to extremely high inflation in the nation. The European theater.
And then Allied leaders we got Winston Churchill, who was British, obviously. He was the dude who was leading the war in Britain. Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower, they were the presidents during the war. And then we have Joseph Stalin, who wasn't a leader we loved, really, because he was communist, but he was fighting the war against Germany.
The Axis leaders were Hitler and Mussolini, and Italy pushed 60 miles inside of Egypt, forcing British units back. Hitler called off the battle at Britain and had concentration camps. Erwin Rommel, who was known as Desert Fox, and he was a German general who led the tank force.
D-Day, or Operation Overlord, was an invasion of Normandy, where it was Canada, Britain, and America. They all invaded Normandy. They confused the Britain. It was a very big battle. There was many casualties, but I would say it was one of the last battles of the war, because after that, Germany just went downhill, and 2 months later, they were able to actually liberate Paris.
The Battle of Britain started in the summer of 1940. There were extensive air raids over London and other parts of Great Britain designed to break the British morale. The Luftwaffe were the German Air Force, and they went against the kingdom's Royal Air Force. The RAF was so persistent and tactical, partly due to the insider information given to them by the stolen Enigma machine, and partly due to their new radar technology, that Hitler had to give up his day raise in October of 1940 and only struck under the cover of night. The battle ended on May 10, 1941.
France surrendered in June 1940, and the south part of France got a new name and capital. It was then known as Vichy France, and the northern part became Germany. The leader of Vichy France was Marshal Philippe Pétain, but this name and new arrangement did not stick. France regained its original title in 1944.
The fire bombings of Dresden, and the Allied forces bombed a city called Dresden in Germany, and the bombings killed 135,000 people, and it was the most destructive bombing of the war.
The Battle of the Bulge started December 16, 1944, and it was an unsuccessful attempt by the Germans to break Allied supply lines. This battle was the first of many rapid succession losses by the Nazis. Allies marched on Berlin in 1945, and Hitler died April 30th of 1945. The European theater officially came to an end May 9, 1945.
The Battle of Stalingrad, also known as one of the bloodiest and largest battles in history, was an important battle on the Eastern Front. Germany fought the Soviet Union for Stalingrad with bombing the city to rubble, but Germany lost when the Soviet Union cut them off and they ran out of supplies and were forced to surrender to the Soviet Union. This was a big win for the Soviet Union.
The Pacific Theater. Axis leaders. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto was a naval strategist for Japan in World War II. He was responsible for the attacks against Pearl Harbor in 1941, and Emperor Hirohito was the Emperor of Japan during World War II.
The Allied leaders of the Pacific Theater. There was FDR of the United States, Winston Churchill of Great Britain, and Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union. All these leaders were patriotic leaders that devised creative strategies to get what they wanted for their country. And they were successful leaders all in their own way.
The firebombing in Japan. That one was dismal. For citizens of Japan, it didn't go well. It killed many, many, many people. It was deadly. It was bad. And then we had the atomic bomb, that was the first time the atomic bomb had ever been used. So the whole world was kind of just like shook about the atomic bomb. And that actually didn't kill as many people as the firebombings did. But it was awful, and the radiation killed so many people.
Japanese expansionism was when Japan was experiencing lots of victories and refused to surrender during war. They took over more than 1 million square miles of Asian lands, and they had planned to strike against India.
On December 7th, 1941, tragedy struck Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The Japanese, led by Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, bombed Pearl Harbor and created distress and damage. The United States then declared war on Japan.
Island hopping. So that was a plan to go, after Japan had taken over like the islands in the Philippines around there, that was a plan to go retake those, where America would hop to the different islands. So go take over an island, then say this island was super guarded and hard to take over, but the other island here, that island was super easy. So they would go and jump here, not there, just skip over there, and then take over here, then go to the next easier one, the next one that they needed, and would leave all the harder islands to get back. They would leave those till after they had taken back Japan.
The Battle of the Pacific Theater was when Japan was unbeatable, but America and Australia mainly wished to strike back in the Pacific. USA wanted revenge for Pearl Harbor, and both America and Japan used new naval warfare during the Battle of the Coral Sea, and the Allies won but lost way more men than Japan did. Then Japan went for the Battle of Midway, and the Allies succeeded greatly in it.
The impact on civilian population. The impact on civilian population.
On November 9th, Nazis attacked Germany's Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues and killed 100 Jews. This night is known as Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, due to all the shattered glass from the Jewish shop windows morbidly paving the town streets. This was a pivotal moment for Nazis and their anti-Semitic beliefs and caused Jews great fear and unknowing.
The civilian war effort. The civilians in World War II would help in any way they could. Women would work in the factories while men were away, children would scavenge for scrap metal, and people would give up some luxuries in their food to be able to give the soldiers anything they desired.
The Holocaust was a mass slaughter of the Jewish people and others that were believed to be inferior to the Nazis. The Nazis forced Jewish into segregated areas known as the ghettos. Also, they had concentration camps, which were like killing centers, and working areas that were very harsh. Hitler made these pacts, and he made a final solution, which was genocide to all, and genocide is where there's the mass killing of an entire population. And then over 6,000 people would die a day, and 6 million European Jews did die in these concentration camps.
Oh, Nuremberg trials, that's what I'm thinking. Those were after the war, where the Nazis were, they had consequences for what they had done to the Jews and what had happened during Holocaust, and where they had to pay for that. And so trials against the Nazis, where the Nazis were punished for their war crimes.
The surrender and rebuilding of Germany and Japan. May 9th, 1945, Germany officially surrendered, and on September 2nd of 1945, the Japanese surrendered. Douglas MacArthur led the American occupation of Japan, started the demilitarization and democratization of the nation. Germany was also occupied and set up for demilitarization and democratization at the Potsdam Conference.